Well, first off, thank you so much for your time, Jeanine. Amazing performance. Uh,
Thank you.
First up, as the actress bringing Dr. Ellen Marks to life, what drew you to this project as well as the character? Because she's a little bit different than your stereotypical scream queen. So is that part of what drew you to this, or was it kind of the project as a whole?
Oh yeah, definitely. It would definitely the character, playing a strong woman, playing a doctor, was a real pull for me. So it was, Dr. Ellen Marks, she's a psychiatrist. She's running a psychiatric hospital for the criminally insane. And as one of my patients is there, he's a serial killer who was only 10 years old, actually, when he committed all these crimes. And he's been in my establishment for 20 years. And I have made it my sort of life's goal to never let him out. I think the director kind of wanted this movie to be a sort of anti-authority, like I'm the establishment. So have I created more of a monster? I don't know. Who knows? The world is so split nowadays. I'm sure people will make their own minds up of, he was only 10 when he went in. He spent 20 years out in my care. I don't know. I tried for 10 years to try to make him cure him. It
Yeah.
didn't work. So then I decide, right, I'm going to keep you in here locked up forever. You're not going to change. So for me, what a great part. It is a strong character. It's like a Ripley in Alien. It's like a Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. I'm in my mid 50s. So for me, great, a fantastic role for an older actress to be given. Um, a really strong character and a real
Yeah.
integral part of the movie. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. She's analytical, professional, but also the piece that you didn't mention, she's a mother that's forced into fight, for her family. What was that challenging at all, or what was the most challenging part of balancing those facets of her character? Because there are many like lines with her, and I think, we all want to like root for the clown or root for the bad guy, but I would argue that Dr. Ellen Marks is just as complex, if not more complex, than the bad guy in this one.
Well, Jesse, you said there's a lot to unpack in this movie. There's a lot of layers, and it's not black and white. There are loads of shades of grey in this movie. So it's, you know, is she right? Is she wrong? So,
Yeah.
some people might swing that she was right. So she is likable, maybe to some people, but to some people she might not be that likable. Um, Now with my daughters, like getting my daughters involved, yes, I think yes, she's a doctor and she's quite, caught up in her work, as you can see. But she's also, yes, a mother. And I think any mother, I'm a mother of four myself. I have daughters that age too. And I think you just put yourself as, what would you do to protect your children? Of course, a woman would do anything she could a mother would do anything she could to save her children. So I think for me that was quite the easy bit to do actually, because it was just, if I was in that position, what would I do? Of course, you fight for your kids. Um, and and also, I to have Carl Kane, he's such a strong character in it, isn't it? I mean, he was mesmerizing when you watch him on screen. He's this intoxicating voice. He's theatrical. He's the Joker meets Hannibal Lecter with a splash of Art the Clown in. He really is a character that is, love him or hate him. He's amazing,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
he? On screen, his on-screen presence is just phenomenal.
Yeah, when this first came across my desk, what kind of attracted me to it was the it's being labeled as the British Terrifier. And I actually think it's a little bit more than that because of Ronan's performance. Like it is a little bit Joker. I can for me, the only connection with Art the Clown is that he is a clown. But
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
but I get, you gotta make headlines and get the clicks, but um
It was from a quote that somebody
yeah,
had seen and said that. So it was. I always say no. It's like The Purge
yeah,
meets, something. It's not. I mean, for me, if you want to watch a slasher movie with gore, this is not the movie for you. This is suspenseful. It's psychological. As I say, it has layers, and I'm so happy that you said that, Jesse, that you thought, I mean, what a compliment. Thank you that you think that it was more than The Terrifier. I mean, we could have gone down a bit more of the blood and guts and stuff, but the story was there to be
Yeah.
told. And I think it really did lend itself to that quite intimate scenes with the clown. And yes, the only thing about it being a clown movie that he had clown makeup on. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I'm always curious as to the people that, lived these experiences and played these roles, like kind of what they think of the comparisons. I definitely get the purge with the clowns and Halloween. There's obvious nods to Halloween in the beginning, which
Mm.
kind of,
Oh
lends
yes, that we
lends
pay
it.
homage to a lot of the classics. Yes.
Ex exactly. What I want to mention though with that though is that the film does, while it does pull from those films, it also leans into the real life, killer clown craze of 2016. Did you look at any of the real world material to shape your performance, or did you kind of rely more on Phil's on his vision, if you will?
Well, Phil did everything meticulously. Phil is a an absolutely he's a perfectionist. He does everything. He's done everything. He's written this movie. He's directed this movie. He's edited the whole movie. He chose all the music for this film. He's meticulous in what he does. And yes, he did do a lot of look. Everything was storyboarded every day. Everything was, you know, he really is a proper filmmaker who really did look into all of the real craze. And I think it's really nice that when you have a movie that you actually have something that you can hold that actually did happen. There was
Yeah.
some truth in it. It makes it even more scary, really, because that actually happened. And we were just maybe making a story of something that actually did happen back then. But yes, it was an actual, the killer clown craze was a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And speaking of like how meticulous he is, this film was shot on a tight indie schedule, only 9 days of filming. Did that intensity heighten the adrenaline on set, especially for you? And because your role was very emotionally demanding, so I could imagine, having everything storyboarded, set out. I'm sure that just had to push you that much further as an actress.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. It was a micro budget horror movie, and yes, we shot it in that time period. And yeah, I mean, you have to immerse yourself in it. You were, I mean, totally immersed in that horrible basement in London with mice running around. It was pretty brutal, actually. Falling asleep and having three mice hanging off your boot, and it's pretty grim. But I literally had PTSD when I finished making that movie. When I was asleep in my own bed after that period of time, I would kind of wake up sort of really scared, because I was so used to I don't want to give too much away, but to the position that I found myself in. Um, and it was quite a demanding, as in, there were some quite emotional scenes in there. My ears were ringing for days when, having been shouted at by Ronan and his booming voice in my ear. But yeah, it was quite hectic leaving the movie, actually. More than when
Yeah.
you're immersed in it. When you're in it and you just live it, and you live, sleep, and breathe it. Um, and it is quite demanding when you're there, but it's actually when you finish and then you sort of have to go to Sainsbury's and buy some eggs, and you sort of think, oh my God, is this what people do? Is this so boring? I want to be in a basement again with mice running around.
you
It's
know,
really
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, sorry. Yeah,
Well, you
definitely.
mentioned the atmosphere, and I think that's one of the things that's really being praised. The look of the film. It's not only dark, it's colorful, it's eerie. How did that atmosphere on set help you sink into Dr. Mark's state of mind? Because to me, there's obvious connections to the Joker, but having that atmosphere around you, it kind of feels almost like a Gotham City. Like
Yes.
you could feel the grit. Like
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're mentioning the mice, but as a viewer, I could also feel that. Like it definitely exceeded expectations in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, we're still waiting for them to send their invoices in, actually, but there's too many of them. But no, it really was. I mean, I think I had like a chest infection for about 3 months after that with the smoke machine,
Oh,
because it
wow.
was like the smoke pumping in all the time and that sort of damp atmospheric, like the whole look of it was like that. But I think to me, it reminds me of all the movies that I used to watch, like the Lost Boys and things that were back in the day that were like that. It's just so nice to actually see that sort of movie back
Yeah.
because it is different, isn't it? I mean, I grew up with all I like a big range of movies, but I watch a lot of old horrors too, and it was a lovely, sort of that 80s feel to it that I loved. It was really nice to get those neons and the smoke and just a bit darker. Yeah, it really did. It was gritty. It was really, really, I just can't wait for people to watch it and get some feedback. I'm so glad that you like that.
Yeah, and I also wanted to touch on, Shogun Films, produced Helloween, and
Yes,
you co-founded the company with your
yes, I did.
husband, Jonathan Sothcott. How different is it wearing the hats of both a performer and a producer? Because I can imagine that there's an extra added weight when you're on set because you're like, oh, I have to do so much and I have to deliver because there's so many people counting on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is it is hard sometimes. But look, this the script was amazing. We looked at the script and the role was written for me and I will always take the roles that if people want to write me a great role, fantastic, send them in. Um and it's fantastic. I mean, we were like a big family when we were on set. We make enough movies now to have a nice repertoire of actors and we all it's like when we get to work, everybody just loves everybody else. And so we get a lot of support. We tend to use the same crew and so it's just like, hey, we're back together again. And I don't really feel that pressure on set. I think if I was going on and we just didn't see the same people and we had all different people coming in, I think it would be a bit different. But it's we I think we make good movies and we have great actors in them and hopefully we're doing things that people want to watch.
Yeah. Well, I thought this was actually really interesting. You've spoken about the importance of supporting indie films through word of mouth, and that's kind of exactly why we're sitting here today. How important is audience support for a movie like Helloween compared to bigger studio horror releases? I know that we kind of touched on it when comparing it to Terrifier, but I think that by those types of mentions and then you and I talking and then just
Yeah.
spreading the gospel, I mean, this is gonna, I mean, potentially reach so many more people just because of which.
Yeah, well, thank you as well, Jessie, for having me on and pushing the word out because yes, you know, in independent movies that they're not shown enough. I don't want to watch all the crap that I go and watch in the cinema, with all the CGI and no practical effects and all these big studio movies that cost hundreds of millions of pounds and we're doing things on micro budget. We're getting good actors, good actresses, great crews in. We're employing lots of people. And the thing is, where are they being shown? It's so sad that they're not played in the cinemas and you don't get the good slot. You maybe get a slot at, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday when everybody's at work, or, and then it's just in three cinemas. They don't push them, they don't help. And I'm hoping that changes. Um, we there are so many good independent movies out there, and it's people like you who really help to push them. So, thanks a lot for all the support.
Well, thank you. That's a really nice way to cap it off. I do have one final question about Halloween. This film, it definitely has franchise potential. And this is I mean, I can't like say it enough. This character just exudes like has this crazy presence that it is very much the Joker, but like a Joker with a new skin. And
Mm,
I would love to see more of that. If
mm.
Dr. Marks were to return in a sequel, where would you see this story going? And is this something that you guys have discussed or even touched on at all?
I mean, we haven't really discussed it. We've got it in the back of our minds all the time. I mean, obviously, when you make something that's kind of open-ended at the end, without giving too much away. You're always thinking about the next step. But in turn as well, we have got a lot of other movies coming out too.
Yeah.
So it's like, do we sort of try to do the sequels, or are we just keep going with lots of different ideas, because there are so many stories to be told out there, so many great scripts to be told. So we're doing, we're in the middle of shooting. I'm shooting The Secret of Guy Fawkes at the minute. We've just got one that's going out, that's going to be released very soon, called Dr. Plague, which is a sort of a homage to The Wicker Man.
Yeah, yeah. I've
Um,
seen that the press release and stuff for that one as well.
Yeah, so that's coming out soon. There's The Harbinger that's coming out this year. And that we've got Werewolf Hunt shooting at the end of the year. There are so many movies that we're releasing that, I think you can say it with everyone that you do. Oh, let's
Yeah.
do that one, let's do, and then all of a sudden you're not telling a story that someone else has written and wants to put out there too. So we're in that sort of situation. But let's see what the feedback that we get, and let's see what happens.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for your time. I love that you're spreading the indie voice. And Jeanine, here at CineDump, we let the doers know how they're doing, and you guys are doing just fine. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sitting down with me, and thank you for pushing out Helloween. What a fun time.
No, thank you so much, Jesse. And I hope to speak to you again about all the other up and coming ones that we've got coming, because it's been a lovely interview with you, and I love to see the clowns that you've got in the background.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jesse. Bye. Bye.
Bye.